Hello, everybody, and welcome back. Thanks for clicking on this video and stopping by. Well, today I was reading about some Pink Floyd albums, and one that was released on this day back in 1967. I wanted to come on and talk about it because it is one of my favorite Pink Floyd albums, an album that I still listen to this day, an album that I feel like if we had to put some music in a time capsule and send it out in space, I would want this album to be in that time capsule. So I am referring to the album. This came out, like I said, back in 1967. Pink Floyd, The Piper at the Gates of Dawn, which, if I did my calculations correctly, this album is 58 years old. 2 more years, it'll be 60 years old. An album where Sid Barrett was the leader and was pretty much in control of the whole band and writing a lot of the material for this record. This album is just pure, great psychedelic rock, space rock, and I'll go along to say acid rock. Now, the title of this album comes from a book, a chapter in a book. The book was called "The Wind in the Willows," and I believe the chapter was titled "The Piper at the Gates of Dawn." I have never seen the book or read it, but now maybe one day I will pick it up. So around this time, Pink Floyd were playing in a what became a famous underground club called the UFO Club, which there was other bands playing there too, if memory serves me well, like the Soft Machine. Now, there were a couple of singles too that were charting pretty well for the band that are not on this album, and that is Arnold Lane and See Emily Play. I love that song. It's, I think, just pure pop genius. Great, great song. The album was produced by Norman Smith and recorded at EMI London. Now, a single was released from this album, and it was the song Flamin', written by Sid Barrett. Here's the back of the album here. The copy that I'm showing right here is a mono mix that says that it's taken from the original mono mix. But the band feat at the time was Sid Barrett, lead guitar and vocals, Roger Waters, bass guitar and vocals, Richard Wright on organ and piano, Nick Mason on drums. Um, this album, again, I will say that it is a great example of British psychedelic music. I remember when I first got into Pink Floyd and I bought as a blind buy Dark Side of the Moon. And I thought for the longest time at that age that that was the beginning of Pink Floyd. It wasn't until years later that I moved from a small Texas town to a bigger city in Texas and started going to school. And one a day, and one of my teachers, music teachers, heard how much of an interest I had in the band Pink Floyd. And what he did was he went and got like this. It wasn't a book, but it was like a picture that had their entire discography. And he explained to me, he goes, Pink Floyd goes back to his time, and when the band was much, much different. And it puzzled me at first. I was like, what, they have other albums? So I remember buying, and I know that we're all familiar with it, the album A Nice Pair, which is the first two Pink Floyd albums. And that was my gateway into the early Pink Floyd. And I just simply love that. Sometimes I think about getting that back in my collection, the Nice Pair, because I like the artwork. I like the Harvest record label, which I've said before in previous videos. That's my favorite label, is the Harvest record label. I love that the album has this whimsical take on psychedelic music. And like already said, it's just a perfect example of psychedelic pop. The album has about 11 songs, but each one of these songs, there's just something special about them, something unique, something different, and they're just like these little gems that go inside of your treasure box for music. I mean, this whole album, in my opinion, I just love every song on there. Three tracks that really are my ones that I listen to. And I want to say one thing about the song Bike. When I first heard that song, I used to lift the needle up too early and did not realize that there was that one little small part where it sounds like some kind of, I'm going to say, Pandora's box opening to these different music things, psychedelic sound, this loud honking of a horn. I'm taking it from a bike, but it just seemed like something out of a bad dream or just a weird dream. But anyway, bike is, I love hearing that song. But my three favorites is Astronomy Domine. I hope I said that correctly. Lucifer Sam and Interstellar Overdrive. Now, those two, the Interstellar Overdrive and Astronomy Domine, are just great examples too of space rock, psychedelic. To this day, I get chills when I hear those songs. Those songs are in a very special place in my heart because this those two songs were like part of my early soundtrack of music. And I just remember having bad days and just playing this record over and over and over and just getting lost into the creativity, this magical, uh, great music. And now going back to the Astronomy Domine, I thought about it today and I was like, that music sounds like music that would sound like what's coming out of an eclipse happening. That's the way I compared it to. Like an eclipse is about to happen, and there goes the music, comes the music. The lyrics float so well, poetic, uh, with the music of Astronomy Domine. And I know we've all heard that, uh, Jupiter and Saturn. When it gets to that part, I just love hearing that. Neptune, Titus, underwater. Oh man, that's just epic, epic. Lucifer Sam, what I always liked about it was that guitar playing that sounded like something of a James Bond theme. And then it goes into that lyric, if I remember right, that cat did something strange, which makes it really spooky. But I just think that lyrically, uh, Sid Barrett was a good poetry lyric writer. He was very good. I loved his guitar playing, was very different, unique in some of the way that he did chord structures for these songs. So today, wishing us a happy anniversary, Pink Floyd, Piper at the Gates of Dawn. Now, I pulled out another record because Astronomy Domine, there's a great live version of it on Umaguma, and I don't have that one right now. I'm kind of wanting a used copy of it, preferably like that Rainbow Capital one that I used to have when I was in junior high. So I'm kind of holding out, but I remember loving the live side. I don't think I've ever shown this, but I picked this up. It's called Pink Floyd Transmission, 1968, the year I was born. I got it this last year or my birthday, and it has Astronomy, Domini, Interstellar, Overdrive, and Let There Be More Light on side 4. And I love listening to that side. This sounds, from what I understand, and of course, there's not much information about this. And just to go ahead and show you, this is what the cover looks like. And sounds like stuff that was played over the radio, maybe some BBC. I'm not sure where all the recordings came from, but it's not a bad sounding record, and I really enjoy hearing it. And hopefully, I'll get that Uma Guma. But anyway, folks, I just wanted to come on here and pay tribute to an album that's just iconic to me, in my opinion. Thanks for stopping by. Please leave me a comment. Maybe you like this album as well, or any of these other Pink Floyd albums, and you want to leave me a comment. Appreciate hearing from you. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video. Take care.